when you asked me before leading up to this today, you wanted a bio on me, and I was going to say, I have a 16-and-a-half-year-old dog, and I have a bad back. I threw my back out. That's my bio. That pretty much explains who I am right now.
No, I'm so
16 and a
curious.
half year old dog and a back that's out.
I'm so curious to learn more because I've known you for the past decade or a little more than that when, you hosted Straight Talk with Ross Matthews and Nikki Boyer for many years. And I don't know your backstory beyond that. I know that you were a painter for many years. You stopped that. Now you are an intuitive, but I assume that you've been intuitive your whole life, right?
My whole life. Yeah,
Okay,
my
we'll
whole
get into
life.
the intuitive stuff soon. But I want to know about your upbringing. Where did you grow up? Did you go to college? Did you major in anything? What was your job
Oh
before
my
all
God.
this?
That question, what was my job? Kyle, I've had probably every job you could possibly imagine. Every job. Like I don't even know where to start as far as like my life, my background. It's not simple. It's really complicated and
Yeah.
weird
And gay and super
and
gay.
gay. Oh, well, that's why I said my bio is just to just be I'm gay.
And have
That's
you been
that's
out since you were young, a child?
No, I grew up in the 60s and 70s. No, I wasn't
Okay.
out until I was, when did I come out? 19. 19. Is that considered later or is that early
I
or
was
later?
18 or 17 or 18. I think that's,
Okay.
well, for the 60s and 70s, I think that was pretty young.
Okay, good. Because I remember at the time when I came out, people are like, finally, you waited long enough. I'm like, but I'm 19. I don't,
Was your mom surprised? Usually moms know.
I think parents in general know, Kyle. I think they're smart. Parents are smart. I mean, they raised us. They're smart. They know. They just don't say anything or they don't want to face it, maybe. But yeah, I thought my mom would be more like celebratory about it
Hmm.
and, more accepting. But she was the one that had kind of a problem with it. My dad was very much like, yeah, I want to march at the gay pride parade. I'll march, like I'm proud of my gay son. My mom was worried about the life that I would be living ahead of me as an openly gay man. So she was concerned about my safety and my well-being and my happiness. But my dad was just like, yeah.
Yeah, same. My mom was, she was supportive, but she was worried and she just knew that life would be harder.
Yeah, that's
And it
it.
is
That's
harder.
exactly like my
It's
mom.
slowly getting easier, I think, for future generations. But there's so much I want to talk to you about generationally because I just turned 40. You are 61?
Kyle, easy. No, say, oh, thank you. I'll take it. I'm 63. But look, don't I look good for six? You know what? I'm 63, but I act like a 12-year-old.
And that's what I love. You're so youthful. No one would ever know. Have you always been this fun-natured, outgoing, life of the party guy?
Kyle, well, first of all, let me go back to you being 40. Congratulations. You're still a
Thank
pup.
you.
40 is a great age.
Okay.
40 is a great
Where were
age.
you at 40?
40, where was I? I was in LA working as a waiter at 40 and still pretty sexually active, dating and
Hmm.
hooking up. But then it starts to slow down.
Well, your body starts to slow down. I guess maybe some of your interests start to slow down. You like being home more.
Kyle, it's so weird how it changes. Like 40 is when it started. Like I just felt a little bit of like, oh, feels a little bit like work. And then 45 was a little tougher. Then after 50, the wheels come off the bus. 60, the wheels are off the bus. Good luck. Good luck. Have fun.
You mentioned you were dating a lot when you were younger, but have you, from what I remember, you've never had a long-term partner?
No, I've never had a long-term relationship ever at 63. And for a long time, I felt like I was damaged goods. I felt like I was damaged, like I was broken. Like, how could I? And not that I hadn't tried, like I've tried everything as far as dating and I've dated every kind of person. It just hasn't happened. Now I'm very accepting of it and I actually kind of like it. I mean, I like that. I think it's interesting. I've never had a long term because there's sometimes judgment behind that. Do you know what I mean? Like, how come you've never had a long term relationship? You know what? It's as simple as me not meeting that person. Like for me, like I haven't met that person
And you're
that
at
I
peace with
feel,
it now because
yeah,
you like being solo now, and it's okay if it doesn't happen. Is that what you're saying?
right. But what I'm really saying is like, I have issues with the gay community as far as standards, like what a body should look like, or if you should have a long term relationship, or or if you don't have it, like, why should that? I feel a little judged sometimes because I've never had one, right? But it happens. Like sometimes people just don't have relationships, and that's got to be okay. So I fight against that. But I'm happy. I'm at peace now.
Identifying with the gay community, you say you have some issues. I also felt that way very much growing up, and I didn't really have gay friends up until a couple years ago. I felt so outside of just, I guess, what I thought gay people should be, and I just felt I wasn't that. And so when I was
Yeah,
going through my divorce is when I really put myself out there and tried to make male friends because they were always just women in my life,
yeah.
women at my wedding. I have a feeling though that you were immersed in the gay culture when you were younger and had a lot of friends and were the life of the party, but did you still just struggle to connect on a friend level and romantic level, or was it all around?
All around. I struggled with gay friends, gay male friends. I struggled with dating, and I struggled with the gay community as far as like I felt the standards that I felt I had to live up to be accepted or loved. You know, like if you go to the gay pride parade, you still see these guys with beautiful bodies and they're in G strings and stuff, and that's great and all that. But for someone like me that when I was younger, I didn't have a lot of security and I felt I needed to be that to be accepted. But you really don't. You don't, you could just be yourself. That's what I'm trying to say. You don't need to have the perfect body to to be part of the gay community or to have a long-term relationship.
Exactly. So take me back to 19 years old. You're coming out.
Mhm.
Where are you living then?
Okay, so I had the best coming out story. I have the best coming out story ever. So I came out at Walt Disney World. I was a Disney performer at eight. I got a job there at 18 and had a 4 year contract. And I came out there. So I like what better place to come out than Disney?
And I'm sure you were surrounded by other gays.
So many gays, and they were so one. They all knew that I was gay. They were just waiting, and then when I came out, they were so happy for me. And you know that feeling. When did you come out?
I was 17 or 18.
Did you feel liberated? Did you feel like free and
In a way, I felt free. I also, I mean, you can relate. It was during in the 90s, you really couldn't be out at in high school. Like there was people that were either denying that they were gay and no gay people in school. We all kind of knew each other, but none of us were friends. It was like everyone was separate and you went through this path of denying it and then being like, "Oh, well maybe I'm bisexual." And then, "Oh, I don't
right?
like labels." And then it takes you a couple of years and then it's like, "No, I'm really only attracted to men. I'm gay." But I never had gay friends and I want to go back to your era because you're 19. I don't know if you're in school or you're an adult, but are you out and proud right then, or are you hiding it from certain people?
Once I came out, I was out and out. I was just loud. Like I'm gay. I'm gay. I couldn't like say it enough. I just wanted to shout it and tell everyone. So there was such a freedom when I came out for me. You know, I just because I felt like I had been in prison my whole life, not being able to really be myself, but knowing you're gay, but you couldn't let that out. So when I let it out, it was like yes. But but you know, I was around gay people at Disney, so like it was like they were so supportive and wonderful and loving. So it was actually perfect how I came out. But growing up at high school was torture, you know, with the bullies. Did you get bullied in high school?
Yes, and it got a little better in high school, but middle school was the worst. Junior high, when
Middle,
all the
yes,
puberty and everyone's just focused on being cool, and the F word is thrown around like anything. And then, especially in the 90s,
yeah.
everything being gay was a put down. That's so gay. That's so gay. Yeah, yeah. I felt middle school was tormenting for sure.
Okay, but did you find? Okay, so what happened was I have the same experience. It was torture, horrible, awful, evil, dark. But when I started making friends with the beautiful, popular girls, they became my protectors. And then I was in a safe zone. And then everybody wanted to be my friend. So it's like, this is why I love women so much because women saved me. The girls saved me because they would protect me. They would stand up to the bullies. The bullies wouldn't bully them. They're too afraid of
Absolutely.
them.
Absolutely, I totally agree. It was always women up until a couple years ago, and I didn't know how to connect with gay men. I didn't know how to connect with straight men at
Yeah.
all. So they weren't
Mm.
even part of the equation as far as being friends. I didn't know how to play sports or anything. It was like the writing club or student council, and then you're surrounded by women, and they do become your support system and your sounding board. And they're also a lot of times the first ones that you come out to, I find.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
But I also find that when you do make gay friends, it's a little intimidating and you do see cliques everywhere, but you do find your tribe, but you do really have to put yourself out there. And in your era, and even in my era up until 10 or so years ago, now everything's online. There's the apps, there's chat rooms. In the 90s and early 2000s, you had to go out. So were
Yeah.
you
Cruising.
seeking out cruising? Were you seeking out gay bars, gay places? How did you connect and find your tribe?
We're not given a manual on how to navigate through the gay community when you come out. I didn't have a mentor. I didn't have a friend. I had to navigate this new world by myself, and it was tough. It was really scary. I remember going to West Hollywood and going to my first gay bar called the Mother Lode. The Mother Lode. And I sat there and was so scared. I remember this guy coming up to me. He's like, you should smile more. Because I was so nervous. And I was just 18, 19, trying to find my way. So I worked at Disney. You know what I mean? That they were so good. Those guys, my friends at Disney took me out. They took me to the gay bars. They introduced me to cruising and, the back rooms. And, they're the ones that taught me and held my hand through it all. The whole scene. And then AIDS hit. So then I had to navigate through that.
Yeah, we have to talk about that because I'm a millennial. Are you a Gen X or baby boomer?
I think I'm a Gen X baby boomer. I think I'm both.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know. It's weird. Maybe I don't know which one I am. Both. I'll say both.
I even feel a little frustrated with Gen Z right now that they don't recognize what my generation was like. How do you feel about the current generation having experienced being gay in the 70s, 80s, 90s, everywhere we've come to?
Uh, yeah, I don't really know because I'm not out and about. I don't know. I'm not out and about around them. Uh, I will say, I think is it easier for the kids nowadays? I think it is. People are more out. There's more visibility and acceptance now. So I don't know. I just feel like we all contributed to what the gay community is today, these young kids. You know what I mean? I don't know if they take time to think about it, but maybe they do.
Sometimes I'm surprised by talking with younger generations, and right now it's great. They have PrEP available, Truvada, Descovy, whatever you're taking to prevent
Yeah.
HIV. But even when I was growing up, I was so scared of kissing. Oh, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna catch something. Like there wasn't that much
Yeah.
education, and now everyone's like, "Well, I'm on this. It's safe. I'm good. It's not. I'm not worried about that." It almost feels like, do you understand everything that we went through to get here, though?
Well, I mean, what I faced in the 80s and watching friends die from AIDS and the terror we all lived in, um, I don't know. It was difficult. Makes me sad thinking about it.
Did you isolate? Did you hibernate? Did you live in fear?
No, I still went out and played around, but I always had the sense, Kyle, to stay safe. Like I was always safe with whatever I did. And then getting tested for AIDS was really scary back then because you had to wait like 3 or 4 days. You had to wait a while for the results. And in that time, you'd think you were dying and you didn't know if you had it. It was really terrifying. But you know what? I was a kid. And the one thing, when I think back at that, in that, on the 80s and the AIDS epidemic and all that, I wish I kind of have a regret about, I wish that I was more present with the friends around me that died from AIDS. I remember going to hospitals and visiting them and talking to them, but I wasn't present because I was so selfish and only thinking about me really in the 80s when I was that age, in my 20s.
Although also with really serious stuff and hardships, you kind of want to turn a blind eye to that. And I'm not ready to deal with
Yeah.
that. You probably aren't equipped to deal with it at that age.
No, I just want to have fun. I still kind of just want to have fun.
You've never lost that youthful mentality, though.
No,
But
I
I also
haven't.
get the sense, listening to your past podcast, specifically you interacting with Ross and him trying to get you to do stuff, you're very set in your ways. Have you always been like that?
Yeah, I'm pretty set in my ways, but I don't think my ways are outlandish. I just think it's, who I am. I mean, Ross and I fighting was entertaining. Didn't you find it entertaining?
Very entertaining, and a lot of it was you not wanting to leave your comfort zone. I'm wondering if that's something that just comes with age. Like, no, I've been there, done that. I'm not budging, or if it's just I am comfortable with who I am and where I am, and I'm not doing anything I don't want to do.
I don't want to be controlled by anyone, and no one can really tell me what to do. I don't want to be told what to do. I like suggestions, but Ross, he's funny because I think he liked pushing my buttons. Anyway, your listeners probably have no idea who I am, where I'm from. We should try to give them some
The
background.
background is that Mr. Malone was on Straight Talk with Ross Matthews for many years, and that's how I got to know him. And then he has his own podcast. It's a gay, 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 gay podcast.
No, now it's Diary of a Gay on Patreon only.
Diary of a
It
Gay
what?
only on Patreon.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a gay, 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 gay podcast. I did that for years, but then my home burned down and kind of knocked that podcast out because the podcast was all about me and my neighbors. And I would go talk to my neighbors. It was, like a gay Mr. Rogers. But my house burned down and that ended that podcast. So now I have Diary of a Gay.
How did that experience change you, and how was it to live through this past January with the wildfires?
Well, okay, so I was living in Malibu, and in 2018, I lost my little guest house that I was living in a wildfire, lost everything. And at the time, Kyle, it was traumatic. I couldn't believe that happened to me. I couldn't believe I lost everything. So, and then I had to start over and I became homeless right off the bat. When your home burns down, you suddenly find yourself as homeless. But because the angels, the helpers really do come around when you're in a place of trauma, when you're in a place of need like that. And so I was very lucky and fortunate to have beautiful friends that helped me out after the fire. So I got back on my feet, and now in my life I see the grace in the fire. It is the best thing that ever happened to me. Because sometimes, Kyle, sometimes things need to burn down so you can start over, get on the right track. And that's what the fire did for me. So I'm very grateful for all of what happened. But it was traumatic.
Are you the type in hardships like the fire to reach out to friends and ask for support? Are you the type to curl up and want to deal with it yourself and not face the world?
With any kind of trauma or the trauma of the fire?
I would say any hardships. Are you the type to reach out to community and friends in the gay community specifically, or are you one to internalize a lot?
I just internalize things. I like to be by myself. Like somebody just asked me, like when Steve, my dog, eventually goes, when I have to put him down, how can we help you? And I said, you can help me by just leaving me, letting me just be by myself. Like I'm going to have to be by myself to process it. It's hard for someone like me to reach out or ask for help. I'm an addict. Addicts across the board it's a hard thing to ask for help, but it's important and it's key to your survival and happiness.
I wonder if that does tie into older generations of sort of feeling alone a lot and hiding when you're younger and having to figure it all out yourself because you did have to keep so much into yourself when you were uncomfortable or in pain or ostracized. And so when you're older, you're used to handling it all yourself.
Kyle, you're so right. I think about that a lot because I'm still that little boy that would go home and hide in his room and draw. I would draw to escape the craziness around me, to escape the bullying and the name calling and my parents, beating each other up. And I would draw and be by myself. So I think you're right. I think that's why I still like being by myself because I'm still that.
But you retired from drawing a few years ago?
Yeah.
How long
Painting.
has it?
Yeah.
And was it after the fire or before the fire?
It was after the fire. It was after the fire. I was still teaching kids art, but yeah, I was painting portraits of people's dogs, trying to make a living.
Highly acclaimed and sought after, and you did it for many celebrities. Was it just something you
Yeah.
woke up and says, I don't have a passion for this anymore, even though it's my skill?
Yeah, you know what, Kyle? This is how I sum up me and I have a very, what's the word? I have a really odd or troubled relationship with my art. And I know it's a talent. I'm grateful for the talent. I really am. But I always tell people I'm an artist that has no interest in art. It's like I know I'm good at what I can do. I know I've been given this, but I don't have an interest in it. And it is isolating and it also, I connect it to trauma in my childhood because I would use drawing and painting as my escape from the craziness around me. That was the way I dealt with it. And so when I grew up and started becoming, I became this artist and it just kind of brought me back to a depressing place, if that makes sense. Do you know what I mean? I associated art with that childhood trauma.
For so many years, it was your outlet and a comfort in a way, and you gave that up.
Hmm.
So where do you go to now? What's your outlet for creativity or when you are frustrated or down?
Well, I mean, I'm old. So I'm semi-retired. I'll show up for podcasts and stuff like this, and what I mean. I'm not really doing anything creative right now. I'm just playing with the little girl across the street. That's pretty, and dealing with my dog. It's like full-time care.
I can't not mention Pride Month. You've always been, as you said, out and proud and living your best life in that sense. Did you always feel a sense of pride? I really didn't. I didn't feel like celebrating Pride or connected to Pride Month probably until a couple years ago because I did feel so
That's
outside
good.
of the gay community and gay friends.
How did you become part of it? How did you
I
switch
think
that over?
for, in my divorce, forcing myself to make gay friends and finally finding my tribe and not
Oh,
feeling like, oh, I can't go there. I'm not one of them. Because you're one of someone. There's going to be someone. You just have to be willing to put yourself out there. There's people just like you or feel uncomfortable,
yeah.
have the similar interests. It's not all cookie cutter. And I think I grew up with thinking, oh, they're all this way. They're all this way. It's, no one's one dimensional.
Yeah, but I mean, you could reach out and find your tribe anywhere. It doesn't have to be within the gay. Like I get along with straight guys. Straight guys and we just click. I don't know where that comes from, but most of my guys friends are straight. I love it though. I love Pride. I love everything that goes on with it. But you know what I mean?
Were there any gay role models growing up in real life or on the screen?
No, none. I had Barbara Streisand. I wanted to be Barbara Streisand when I was growing up. That's all I wanted was to be her. How gay is that?
Did you read that book?
It messed me up. That book, well, that book, that was
40 hours if
intense.
you do the audiobook.
The Yentl chapter went on so long. I called it Yantl. But
Oh,
I got to meet Barbara Streisand. So
how?
funny. My friend is a director, directed her in the guilt trip. I'm in the guilt trip. I'm in the background, but in one of the scenes. But I got to meet her. It was interesting.
It was interesting. How was she on set?
She's just I sum it up by saying she's a lovely woman.
Yep.
You know, she was fascinated by me though. She was fascinated by my feet. She thought I had the smallest feet and she wouldn't let go of it. She goes, God, your feet are so small. My feet aren't small. It was just the pants I was wearing with the shoes that made it look my feet look small, but she couldn't let go of it. And then she's like, you have an eye for detail, I can tell. Um, but she's a very nice lady. And when she enters the set, it's just this is like the cheap smell of rose perfume enters. It just comes over the whole set.
Beautiful.
Everyone is like, what's that smell? Oh, it's roses. And then she makes her entrance.
The theme of this podcast, The Tangle, I am curious what you are currently tangled in, good or bad, something you're binging, something you're obsessed with. What are you immersed in these days?
Okay, first of all, when you say Tangled, I think of that Jane Weedland song Tangled. Do you know that song?
No.
Do you
I'll
know
look
who
it up.
Jane Weedland is?
I do know Jane Wheaton, yes. I'll look it up.
She had a hit called Tangled in the 80s, and it's a great little pop song.
That should be my theme. I'll look it
So
up.
it should. So I just want to keep singing Tangled by Jane Weedland. So what I'm tangled in right now is my neighbor's 2.5-year-old little girl Buttercup. This little girl moved in. Her parents moved in, 2.5 years old. She is the joy of my life. She is so funny and so dynamic, this little girl. And I take her to the park. Her parents let me take her to the park. And I'm tangled up in her joy, in her light, you know? When I'm with her, I don't think about the what's going on in the world. I don't think about anything. I just think about her joy. I'm completely immersed, entangled in that. Let me go back to one more good thing I'm tangled in. I'm tangled in gratefulness. Gratefulness. Like I'm super grateful for my life. So to think of anything negative that I'm tangled in, I don't get tangled in negativity now in my life. I used to, but now I'm not. I don't get tangled in it
I
because
think
I
a lot
work
of us
on it.
would hope for that. It gets easier and stuff brushes
Yeah,
off much easier.
that's the beauty about aging, being my age. It's like I just want to live in gratitude. I don't want to be tangled in negativity or anything that I don't like. And if I don't like anything, I just look at it and go, I don't like it. And this is why I don't like it. I work on it, or this person's bothering me or that's bothering me, but then I let it go. So it's hard to answer that right now. And I love that. That's growth for me,
Yeah. Well, you do
you
get
know?
tangled a lot in your reading, so I do want to talk about that
Oh,
a bit.
yeah.
When did
Yeah.
you discover that you were an intuitive or understood that you were an intuitive?
Well, my mother, I grew up with a mother that was really psychic. So she would tell us stories. It scared her though. She didn't want to jump into the intuitive psychic world because it scared her. But she used to watch these TV shows. There was a magician named Uri Geller in the 70s. You can look him up on Google, and he would ask people on talk shows to go to the screen of their TV and like hold a broken watch and close your eyes, and he'd do a meditation on the TV. And my mother was always able to get those watches to start working. And he'd also bend spoons, and she would be able to do. It sounds crazy, but you could look this up on Google, Uri Geller. So that always, like, for me, like, I knew that there was psychic stuff within in my DNA in my home with my mom and stuff like that. But I didn't really turn towards it or own it for a while because, see, I think I was doing my art. And there were many times when I would paint that I felt like I could let the paintbrush go because I'm self taught. I never took art lessons. And I didn't understand. I still can't, I don't understand how I can make colors, how I can paint a painting. I can't, it's spirit. It's just how it works. I felt like I could let the brush go and it could just paint itself. So that was a very psychic thing, spiritual thing, intuitive thing, painting, art, like any artist. So I was always doing these creative things like painting or dancing or being in a show or choreographing, all through my youth, but 20s and 30s. And then I always felt like I had this intuitive thing to me. And my friends started letting me, I gave her a reading. Like I started saying stuff to her and she was like, how did you know that? And I would just say stuff to my friends. And they were like, my friends started like saying to me, how did you know what you have this gift? Like, so I started giving readings in 2004. My friend let me give readings in the back of her store here in a suburb. And I was giving readings and I was getting quite the following. And then I got really scared because I wasn't ready to hold the responsibility of readings, hold people's grief, hold people's sadness. You have to really be ready for that, to be a psychic or an intuitive. So I wasn't ready at the time. So that's when I turned towards my paintings to try to make that my living, to be an artist. But it was struggle. There was a lot of struggle. And then the fire, my mom died, then the fire. And then I was like, I'm ready. I can hold people's grief. I could do this. And Straight Talk helped me kind of, I started doing readings for the listeners and then word of mouth, so.
I've had a reading done. I know some of my friends have. Eileen, who loves you, she
I
says
love
hi.
Eileen. Oh, I love her.
And the way you read is you can do it remotely. People can book you on your
Yeah.
website. What is your website?
MaloneIntuitive.com.
And
Malone.
does someone bring anything other than themselves? Do you need an object? Because a lot of it is like scribbling, and it was a weird graph you sent me. You sent me a photo of what you were drawing.
Oh, you got a reading in the early days. So of the Straight Talk days. So yeah, I used it. Okay, so how it started off was automatic pen writing. So I was obsessed with a boy in my early 40s, obsessed with a boy. He didn't love me back the way I loved him. I felt like totally rejected. I lost myself. I remember going to the bookstore and a book popped off the shelf and it was called Find Your Inner Boyfriend. And this author talked about this, how to deal with heartbreak and rejection, and how his way of dealing with it was you get a piece of paper, you get two pens, you take one of the pens and write out a question, and then you put that pen down, clear your head a little bit, take a breath, pick up the other pen, and just let the answer flow out. Well, it started working for me. That's called automatic pen writing. It turned into automatic pen writing. I started using this as a tool to heal myself in this thing that I was in, this obsession with this boy. And it started helping me. It started, the answers I was getting back were so beautiful. So I started doing it for friends. You got an automatic pen reading. So
Yes.
now I do kind of psychic medium
Oh, okay,
readings.
so it's not
I don't
coming through a pen or anything. Okay.
I still use the pen, Kyle, and I still do drawing sometimes and crystals and stuff like that. But sometimes I'll just talk, I'll just see what, you just show up on the FaceTime. And sometimes people want to see me in person. They're like, are you going to be giving live readings in person? I feel like I need to see you, but it works so well on FaceTime.
Yeah.
Has something to do with the electricity or the frequency
It's
of a phone.
MaloneIntuitive.com.
MaloneIntuitive.com. Why don't you get another reading?
I should. I should. Yeah, I should.
Yeah,
Oh my
be
gosh, Malone,
fun.
this has been fantastic. I really appreciate you taking the time to celebrate, and I will get this up for Pride Month. Well, I'll still
Kyle,
cross my fingers for a Straight Talk 2.0 at some point.
oh my God, you're such a dream.